The silence in my own office had never felt so heavy, so complete. I never thought the day would come when someone would try to replace me in my own life. Not at work, not in my family, not even among friends. But someone I trusted, someone I helped grow, stood right behind me with a smile on his face, while slowly, methodically, pushing me out of the world I built with my own hands. And the worst part? I didn't even notice. Not until it was almost too late. My name is Arav, and this is the story of how a man I treated like a brother tried to erase me from everything I created, until I made one final move that turned the entire game upside down. 2 years ago, my life was simple. Not perfect, but peaceful. I ran a small but fast-growing tech firm. Nothing huge, but built with honesty and long nights of struggle. I had a tight team, long-term clients, and a vision I believed in. And that's when he walked into my life. Rohan. A charming smile, an impressive resume, and the kind of confidence that makes you think, wow, this guy's going places. I hired him within a week. Some people warn me, don't trust too easily, Arav, but I ignored them.
Why?
Because I saw myself in him.
Hungry.
Driven, talented, and loyal, or so I thought. At first, he worked like fire. Staying late, helping everyone, fixing problems faster than I could think of them. Clients loved him. The team admired him. And slowly, I started depending on him more than anyone else. Late-night meetings, cracked jokes over coffee, celebrating small wins. We became friends. Or at least, I thought we did. He started asking questions like, how did you build this place, Arav? And, what's your long-term plan? I answered everything openly. After all, he was my right-hand man. But little did I know, my answers were seeds he was planting for something much darker. The change was slow, silent, almost invisible. A missing email here, a delayed update there, a client meeting he forgot to tell me about. Small things. Nothing alarming. Nothing to start a fight over. But every time I confronted him gently, he'd smile and say, "Oh man, that's on me. Won't happen again." And I believed him. Because betrayal never looks like betrayal in the beginning. It looks like an honest mistake. One afternoon, I heard 2 employees whispering. He said Arav won't be around much longer. He said big changes are coming. When I walked closer, they fell silent immediately. Who said that? I asked. But they only shook their heads and walked away nervously. Rohan walked in right after, smiling like always. Arav, just got us a new contract. Want to see the draft? And I brushed off the whispers. I told myself, maybe they misunderstood. Maybe it's nothing. But deep inside, it wasn't nothing. It was the first spark of a storm I didn't even know I was standing in. Rohan grew confident, too confident. He started taking decisions without telling me. Started communicating with clients directly. Started acting like the company belonged to him. At meetings, he spoke over me, corrected me,
Interrupted me.
subtly undermined me. And every time I tried to question him, he had an excuse ready. You were busy. You were out. I didn't want to disturb you. He made it look like he was helping. But he was slowly pushing me out inch by inch, step by step. One night, after everyone left, I stayed back to finish some tasks. Rohan's computer was still on. Not unusual, he often forgot to shut it down. But the screen displayed something that wasn't meant for me to see. A client message. But not just any message. A message discussing a new company. With Rohan, talking about shifting all future projects to his firm. A firm I didn't even know existed. A firm registered under his name 2 months earlier. My hands trembled. My heartbeat froze. My stomach dropped. He wasn't just working behind my back. He was building a company behind my back. Using my clients. Using my strategies. Using the information I had given him. He wasn't trying to support my business. He was trying to replace me in it. Completely. I confronted him the next morning. Rohan, what is this? I asked, showing the screenshots. He didn't look scared. He didn't panic. He didn't even pretend. He just smirked. Arav, you built this place. But you're stuck. You're slow. You're old school. It's time someone smarter took over. My chest tightened. What do you mean, take over? He folded his arms casually. As of next month, most of the key clients will shift to my new company. And honestly, the team likes working with me more, so they'll follow. I stared at him, unable to speak. He continued with a shrug. You should relax, take a break, enjoy life. Let the next generation handle things. Next generation. He was 5 years younger than me, but in that moment, he made me feel 10 years older. He ended with a soft, poisonous line. Nothing personal. It's just business. Those words stabbed deeper than any knife. I didn't shout. I didn't curse.
I didn't argue.
I simply looked at him and asked, So, you plan to replace me completely? He smirked again. That's the idea. And in that moment, something inside me changed. The man who trusted everyone, the man who believed in friendship, the man who saw Rohan as a brother, died. And someone new stood in his place, calm, silent, and ready. Because betrayal doesn't break a person. It transforms them. And that transformation is where my revenge began. I walked out of that room with Rohan's words echoing in my mind. Nothing personal. It's just business. But betrayal is never just business. It's a wound you don't see until it starts bleeding trust. And by the time you notice it, you've already lost too much. I stepped into the hallway, my hands shaking, my thoughts tangled. Every face I passed suddenly felt unfamiliar. Were they already with him? Were they laughing behind my back? Were they waiting for me to fall? The office I once built with love now felt like a stranger's house. As I walked toward my cabin, I heard faint voices behind the conference room door. Rohan said Arav won't be handling the big accounts anymore. So who will? Obviously him. He practically runs this place now. A soft laugh followed. A laugh that stung more than it should have. Every word was a reminder of how blind I had been. How easily he gained power because I handed it to him. A few hours later, something strange happened. Employees started entering the meeting room one by one. But I wasn't informed of any meeting. I checked my calendar, nothing. I checked emails, nothing. Curiosity turned into dread. I walked toward the glass room and saw Rohan standing at the head of the table, confidently talking to the team. When he saw me outside, his smile widened, not friendly, but victorious. He didn't stop for a second. He didn't invite me in. He didn't acknowledge me at all. He continued speaking as if I didn't exist. And for the first time, my own company felt like it was slipping from my fingers. That evening, I received an email from one of my oldest clients, a client I had served for 6 years. Arav, we decided to move our new projects to a different team. Rohan has communicated the transition details. Thank you for your past service. I froze. Rohan had spoken to them. Without my permission. Without my knowledge. He was already taking my clients, quietly, efficiently, just like a thief who knows the blind spots of a house because he lived in it. A week later, things got worse. I got called to a meeting with our biggest corporate client, the one contract that kept the company stable for years. I walked in confidently, still believing maybe things weren't as bad as they looked. But sitting across the table was the last face I expected to see. Rohan, not beside me, but opposite me, representing his new firm. The client leaned forward and said, Arav, considering the recent internal instability in your company, we feel more comfortable shifting to Rohan's new team. Internal instability? Who created it? I turned to Rohan. He gave a soft smirk and said, You know how clients get worried. I'm just helping them feel safe. Helping? He was burying me alive with my own shovel. The client slid a document toward me. A termination agreement. My throat dried. My hand trembled as I picked it up. It wasn't just a lost project. It was an avalanche. Once this client left, others would follow. Suppliers would pull back. Staff would panic. This was Rohan's master plan. He didn't just want to replace me. He wanted to erase me. I returned to my empty office late at night. The whole building felt cold, hollow, unfamiliar. Every file, every photo, every award, I looked at them with a sinking feeling, like I was standing inside the ruins of something still standing. Hours passed, The lights buzzed softly. My thoughts grew heavy. Had I really been that naive? Was I such a fool to trust him? Did he ever respect me at all? Slowly, the anger inside me hardened into something sharper, something clearer, a realization. I wasn't losing because he was smarter. I was losing because I was quiet, because I didn't fight back, because I let him walk all over me, thinking loyalty still existed in the world. But not anymore. Not after tonight. At 2:40 a.m., a message popped up on my screen. It was from Ria, one of my most trustworthy employees. "Sir, I think you should know something. Call me." I dialed immediately. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "Arv, sir, something big is happening. And you're not supposed to know." My grip tightened around the phone. "What is it, Ria?" She hesitated, then said the words that shook me awake. "Rohan is planning a board meeting next week. A vote to remove you as CEO." For a moment, I felt the world tilt. A sharp chill ran down my spine.
How?
I whispered. It barely felt like my own voice. "He's been convincing the investors that you're not handling things well, showing edited reports, twisting data, making them believe he can do a better job." Edited reports? The numbers I trusted? The updates he gave me? He had been poisoning everything from the start. I sat down slowly, my mind spinning. Ria spoke again, voice filled with urgency. "He wants full control. You need to stop him before the meeting." Her words faded as my thoughts sharpened. Stop him?
No.
Stopping him wasn't enough. People like him don't stop unless they're exposed. Unless the truth is dragged into the light so bright it blinds them. Something inside me shifted that night. The fear melted. The confusion vanished. Only clarity remained. If he thought he could remove me quietly, he was about to face the loudest silence of his life. I closed my eyes and breathed deeply. If he was planning to replace me, then I would make sure he learned one harsh truth. You can copy my work. You can copy my ideas. You can even copy my success. But you cannot copy my mind. And that mind had just begun planning. I opened my laptop. A blank document stared back at me. And I typed the first line. Phase 1. Let him think he's already won. Because the greatest revenge is the one that starts when the enemy relaxes. Rohan thought he had already defeated me. That I was now just a fading shadow in the company I built. Someone easy to push aside. Someone too shocked to retaliate. And that belief was my first weapon. Because people like him never expect the quiet one to strike back. The next morning, I walked into the office as if nothing had happened. No anger. No confrontation. No fear. Just calm steps and a steady face. Employees watched me with confused eyes, almost expecting me to explode or break down. Rohan stepped into the hallway with his usual arrogant confidence. Hands in pockets. A careless smile on his lips. Acting like he already owned the building. "Arv," he said casually. "As usual, you're early." I smiled, not warmly, but politely. "Good morning, Rohan." He blinked. Maybe he expected anger. A fight. A meltdown. But I gave him none of it. Because the first rule of revenge, don't let the enemy see your fire. Let him feel comfortable. Let him lower his guard. And that morning, he lowered it completely. I messaged Ria, discreetly. "Meet me in my cabin in 5 minutes. No one should notice." She slipped in quietly, shutting the door behind her. Her eyes were wide with worry. "Arv, sir, are you okay?" After last night, I nodded. "My mind is clear now. That's all that matters." She exhaled in relief, but still trembled slightly. "Sir, he's moving fast. He already talked to the investors, and he has supporters inside the team. I'm scared he might actually replace you." I leaned forward. "Ria, tell me exactly what you know." She revealed everything. How Rohan manipulated reports, how he met clients secretly, how he whispered lies to employees, how he created fear, confusion, and doubt. But she ended with something important. "Sir, not everyone is with him. Some people still trust you. They're just afraid to speak up." My first tiny spark of hope. "Ria," I said calmly, "things are going to change from today. But you must act normal. No unusual behavior. No hint that you told me anything.
Can you do that?
She nodded determinedly. I'll do whatever you need. For the first time in days, I felt like I wasn't alone. Before combating an enemy, you need to see every hidden corner of the battlefield. So my first step was simple. Collect everything. Observe everything. Record everything. For the entire day, I acted like a silent ghost. I watched how Rohan interacted, how he convinced employees subtly, how he hovered around clients' accounts, how he monitored meetings I wasn't a part of. Every smile he gave was fake. Every compliment had poison behind it. He thought he was being smart. But now I was watching. And every piece of information he didn't want me to see, I quietly gathered it. One thing about manipulative people is this: they overestimate themselves. They believe everyone is blind. Everyone is stupid. Nobody notices their selfishness. But the team had started noticing Rohan's attitude. During breaks, I overheard whispers. Why does he act like he's already the boss? He changed so fast. He never appreciates anyone anymore. He's only doing what benefits him. These whispers were my second weapon. People were disappointed in him. They just needed the right moment, the right push, the right truth. And I was going to give them all three. That evening, I made my next silent move. I walked straight into the investor's office. Not to argue, not to defend myself, but to confuse Rohan's expectations. I greeted them calmly. You may have heard things about me recently. I just wanted to say, I support whatever decision you think is best for the company. They exchanged surprised looks. One of them leaned forward. Arav, you aren't upset? I smiled gently.
No.
If someone else can handle things better, I'll accept it. This confused them. Investors hate drama. They respect maturity. And my calmness planted the one seed Rohan didn't want. Doubt. If I wasn't fighting back, why? Was I planning something? Did I know something Rohan didn't? Was I preparing a big move? Seeds of uncertainty began to grow. And uncertain investors never fully trust a new leader. That night, when the office emptied, I stayed behind again. I opened the internal server. I opened the client records. I opened the report logs. And slowly, carefully, the truth unfolded. Rohan had been editing performance charts, lowering numbers on my contributions, raising numbers on his. He was creating a paper trail that showed me as a declining leader. But here's the thing about lies. They always leave fingerprints. And all his edits were made from his login ID, with timestamps and server logs.
Proof.
Unbreakable proof. I copied everything, saved backups, encrypted them, prepared a presentation. Not to show immediately, but at the perfect moment. Not when he expected it, but when he was celebrating his victory. Because revenge has two parts, the truth and the timing. And I now had both. 2 days later, Rohan came to my cabin. No knocking. No respect. Just walking in like he owned the place. He leaned on the desk and smirked. Arav, I hope there are no hard feelings. None. I replied with a calm smile. He blinked. You're surprisingly peaceful. I trust the process, I said. He laughed softly. Well, enjoy the next few days. After the board meeting, things will be different. Yes, I said. They will. He didn't realize what those words really meant. He thought I was surrendering. But I wasn't surrendering. I was letting him walk straight into the trap he built. People like him always fall. Not because someone pushes them, but because they never see the cliff below their own feet. In the next few days, I approached the silent supporters. Not with anger. Not with complaints. Not with desperation. But with truth. I called them individually, one by one. You don't need to support me blindly, I told each of them. Just watch what he's doing. Watch how he treats you. Watch what changes when I'm gone. And when the time comes, choose what feels right. I didn't ask for loyalty. I asked for awareness. And awareness is the strongest foundation of support. People don't follow you because you demand it. They follow you because they see your honesty. And slowly, their doubt shifted. Not toward me, but toward him. The board meeting was scheduled for Thursday morning. The day Rohan believed he'd finally replace me. The night before, I stood alone in my office. The same office where I once dreamed, once built, once believed. Everything was quiet, still, heavy. I looked at my reflection in the glass. Arav, the trusting man, was gone. But the new Arav was strong.
Sharp.
Focused. I whispered to myself, "Tomorrow, you take back what's yours." And then I shut the lights and walked out, not like a defeated man, but like a storm that had found its direction. The morning of the board meeting arrived with an unsettling silence. The kind of silence that hangs in the air before a storm breaks open.
Cold. Still.
Heavy with something unseen. I arrived early. Earlier than everyone. Not out of fear, but out of clarity. I wanted to breathe inside my office one last time before everything changed, either for better or for worse. I sat in my chair and closed my eyes for a moment. I could almost hear Rohan's confident footsteps in my mind. I could see his smirk. I could hear his voice. "Arav, move aside. It's my time now." I opened my eyes. Not sad. Not angry. Just ready. One by one, the investors arrived. Some greeted me politely, a softness in their eyes, a hint of sympathy. Some avoided eye contact, afraid of being on the losing side. And a few walked in with a kind of impatient confidence, the confidence of people who thought they knew the outcome already. Rohan entered last.
Of course he did.
He walked in like a king stepping into a coronation ceremony. Dark blazer. Perfectly gelled hair. A carefully curated smile. He even placed his hands on the chair at the head of the table, my chair, and looked at me. "Shall we begin?" he said, as if giving permission. I nodded calmly. Of course. When he sat down in my chair, several investors glanced at each other uncomfortably. He hadn't even waited for the vote. He'd already crowned himself.
Good.
Let him expose himself. Rohan stood up and began addressing the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining today. As you all know, recent months have been difficult for the company." He paused dramatically. Fake concern coding every word. Performance has dropped. Clients have complained. Deadlines were missed. And I truly believe the reason is weak leadership.
He looked at me.
Some investors shifted. Some watched silently. Some nodded gently. He continued, "For the past few months, I've taken on extra responsibilities he stole. And I've seen how urgently this company needs a fresh vision." He clicked a button, and a slide appeared showing manipulated graphs. Graphs he edited himself. Graphs I already had proof of. "As you can see," he said, pointing to a red downward line, "this is what direction the company is heading in under the current CEO." He gestured at me again.
Subtle.
Calculated.
Poisonous.
Then he switched to another slide. A green rising line. "And this," he said proudly, "is what happened in the departments I handled." He turned to the board with a quiet smile. "For the future of this company, we need a leader who can restore stability. Someone who has already shown results." A soft murmur rippled through the room. "And that leader," he added, placing a hand on his chest, "is me." Silence.
Deep.
Heavy. Final. Then he sat down and leaned back, like he had already won. All eyes shifted toward me. Some expected me to defend myself. Some expected me to crumble. Some expected tears, shock, or anger. But I simply smiled. A small, unwavering smile. "Are you done, Rohan?" I asked quietly. He nodded confidently.